For most of human history, people have quietly assumed humanity will always exist. Cities grow, technology evolves, and life moves forward like tomorrow is guaranteed. But what if that confidence is just a comforting illusion? Every species that ever walked Earth probably believed its story would continue forever too. And yet, almost all of them disappeared. The strange part? The answer to whether humans could vanish might completely change how people see civilization itself. Thousands of years ago, Earth wasn't inhabited by just one kind of human. There were many. Homo neanderthalensis survived brutal winters in Europe for hundreds of thousands of years. Homo erectus lasted so long that modern humans have existed for less time than they did. Imagine that for a second. A species could dominate the planet for over 1 million years and still disappear. In 2010, researchers studying Neanderthal DNA discovered that modern humans still carry traces of them inside their genes. It was a haunting discovery because it revealed something unsettling. They weren't monsters, creatures, or failures. They were people. They hunted, laughed, protected families, and probably stared at the night sky wondering about the future just like humans do today. And honestly, that's the uncomfortable part. No species wakes up thinking, we're near the end. Civilizations usually feel strongest right before collapse. The ancient Romans believed their empire would last forever. The Maya built enormous cities deep in the jungle. Even in modern times, humans act as if skyscrapers, governments, and technology somehow make extinction impossible. But evolution doesn't care about confidence. A species can be intelligent, adaptable, and creative, and still vanish. And once someone truly understands that, another question quietly appears in the background. If humanity isn't guaranteed to survive, what exactly could destroy it? For most of history, humans feared predators, storms, disease, and famine. But now, the greatest threats to humanity may come from humanity itself. That's the strange twist of modern civilization. The same intelligence that built satellites, artificial intelligence, and nuclear energy also created tools capable of ending millions of lives in hours. In 1945, after the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, scientists began seriously asking whether humans had entered a completely new era. Albert Einstein himself warned that technological progress without wisdom could become catastrophic. And honestly, it's hard not to see why people still worry about that today. Nuclear weapons remain one of the clearest examples. A large-scale nuclear war wouldn't just destroy cities. Researchers from Rutgers University published studies suggesting that smoke from massive firestorms could block sunlight, collapse agriculture, and trigger what scientists call nuclear winter. Suddenly, the problem wouldn't only be explosions. It would be global starvation. But the dangers don't stop there. Climate change is altering ecosystems faster than many species can adapt. Artificial intelligence raises difficult ethical questions nobody fully understands yet. Engineered pandemics, cyber warfare, and misinformation spread faster than ever before. Humans created systems so interconnected that one crisis can ripple across the planet almost instantly. And maybe the strangest part is this. People often assume someone else will solve these problems. But what happens when every civilization thinks that at the same time? Humans often talk about extinction like it's a distant science fiction scenario. But Earth has already experienced disasters so massive they nearly erased life itself. In fact, scientists believe over 99% of all species that ever existed are now extinct. That number alone feels almost unreal. About 66 million years ago, the Cretaceous, Paleogene extinction event changed life on Earth forever. A giant asteroid struck near present-day Mexico, releasing more energy than billions of nuclear bombs. Dust covered the atmosphere, temperatures dropped, plants died, and entire food chains collapsed. The dinosaurs, which had dominated Earth for millions of years, disappeared. And here's the chilling part. They weren't weak. They were successful for far longer than humans have existed. In 1815, eruption of Mount Tambora caused what became known as the year without a summer. Crops failed across parts of the world, temperatures dropped, and food shortages spread. Historians still study how fragile civilization became from just one volcanic eruption. Now imagine something larger. A supervolcano. A massive asteroid. A rapidly changing ocean current. Even solar storms strong enough to shut down global electrical systems. Modern civilization depends heavily on fragile infrastructure. Most people don't keep months of food stored. Cities rely on transportation systems operating almost perfectly every day. Nature doesn't need hatred, anger, or intention to threaten humanity. It only needs timing. And that leads to a far more uncomfortable realization about the human mind itself. Oddly enough, humanity's greatest weakness may not be technology, war, or even nature. It might be the human brain itself. People are incredibly intelligent in small groups, but history shows something strange happens at large scale. Humans often ignore slow-moving danger until it becomes impossible to avoid. Psychologists call part of this normalcy bias. It's the tendency to assume tomorrow will function roughly like today, even when warning signs are everywhere. Before major financial collapses, pandemics, or disasters, many people continue living normally because the brain struggles to emotionally process enormous threats. In 1986, during the Chernobyl disaster, some residents reportedly watched the glowing reactor from bridges at night without fully understanding the danger surrounding them. That image became symbolic of something deeply human. People often recognize catastrophe intellectually long before they truly believe it emotionally. And social media may amplify this problem. Modern platforms reward outrage, distraction, and short attention spans. Important issues compete against memes, celebrity gossip, and endless entertainment. The human brain evolved for surviving small tribal environments, not processing non-stop global crises 24 hours a day. There's also another uncomfortable truth. Humans are excellent at solving immediate problems, but terrible at thinking centuries ahead. A company wants profits this quarter. Politicians think about the next election cycle. Individuals focus on paying bills this month. Meanwhile, existential risks grow slowly in the background like cracks spreading through a wall nobody wants to examine too closely. So the real question becomes terrifyingly simple. Can a species smart enough to build civilization also become wise enough to preserve it? For decades, humans have dreamed about escaping extinction by becoming a multi-planet species. It sounds almost like science fiction, right? Giant colonies on Mars. Space stations floating between planets. Humans spreading across the solar system like explorers crossing ancient oceans. But beneath that dream hides a serious scientific question. Could leaving Earth actually protect humanity from extinction? Organizations like SpaceX openly discuss colonizing Mars as a long-term survival strategy. Elon Musk has repeatedly argued that humanity should avoid placing all its eggs in one basket. And honestly, from a survival perspective, the logic makes sense. If one planet suffers catastrophe, another colony could preserve human civilization. But surviving beyond Earth would be unbelievably difficult. Mars has freezing temperatures, dangerous radiation, toxic dust, and almost no breathable atmosphere. Even growing food there would require advanced technology operating almost perfectly for years. In space, small mistakes become deadly very fast. A tiny system failure could threaten an entire colony. NASA researchers have also studied how long-term space travel affects the human body. Muscle loss, bone density reduction, and psychological isolation all become serious challenges during extended missions. Humans evolved under Earth's gravity, sunlight, and ecosystems. Leaving that environment isn't just a technological challenge. It's biological. And there's another fascinating possibility people rarely discuss. What if humans eventually survive physically, but slowly become something entirely different from the humans living today? So, could humans go extinct too? The honest answer is yes. And strangely, that realization may be one of the most important lessons humanity can learn. For centuries, people viewed human civilization almost like the final chapter of evolution, the species destined to conquer nature forever. But history, anthropology, and science tell a far more humbling story. Every civilization that believed it was untouchable eventually faced collapse. Every dominant species eventually encountered limits. Humans are extraordinary, sure, but they are not magically separate from the laws that shaped every living thing before them. And yet, This idea isn't only dark. In a strange way, it gives human life more meaning. Because if humanity is fragile, then every achievement becomes more valuable. Every scientific discovery, every act of kindness, every piece of art, every family dinner, every friendship, every dream, all of it matters more precisely because it isn't guaranteed forever. That's why some scientists argue humanity is living through the most important centuries in history right now. The choices made today about technology, climate, cooperation, and wisdom may influence whether humans survive for thousands of years, or become another forgotten species future life forms study someday. And maybe that's the real answer hiding underneath the question. Human survival was never guaranteed. It never was. The future of humanity may depend less on intelligence alone, and more on whether people can finally learn something no other species ever mastered: how to become powerful without destroying themselves in the process.